You know what today is?
Today?
Yeah,
No.
today. By the time they're seeing this, what is today?
It'll be the day after your birthday. No. Give me a second.
Wow,
I don't know.
wow.
It's going to be on your birthday.
It's gonna be when?
On your birthday.
You missed.
Your 59th birthday. So, guys, you're watching this today, and I want you to wish this guy here a very happy birthday because it's his birthday today. If you're
Yay!
catching this when it is. If you're catching the replay, it's not his birthday. But if you're catching this when this actually premieres, it is September the 11th, and it is this guy's birthday. He is 59. He catching up with me.
Mm-mm-mm. She's older than me, and we're going to get into that and more on the upcoming episode of Behind Closed Doors with the
Brooks,
Brookses. Y'all stay tuned.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Behind Closed Doors with the Brooks. I am the lovely, the magnificent, the wonderful Cherie A. Brooks Jr. And this gentleman next to me, whose birthday it is today, by the way, is.
I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach. Good to have you guys with us along for another ride. We are maxing and relaxing. Today is my birthday. Yes, it's actually the third birthday that I've gotten a chance to celebrate, and each one of them go to another level. Shout out to all of you guys that came out to Mika's Cafe last week at the airing of this on Saturday. We celebrated with a bunch of of our friends in our community, and that's actually what we're going to talk a little bit about today, Sheree.
Right, so today we're going to be talking about feeling lost abroad, the secret to finding your people. One of the biggest challenges that we've encountered, and many expats, when you relocate to another country that you encounter, is feeling lost and not taking into consideration how important having a support system, having a community is. And so I know many of you, you guys know our story. You know why we relocated to Panama. It was primarily for my mental health. I had struggled with anxiety and depression and PTSD for years. The pandemic had exacerbated those symptoms. And after going through therapy and trying a few other approaches, my therapist actually suggested, did you ever think about moving somewhere that you could have less stress, that was less stressful, that you didn't have the triggers that you encounter on a daily basis here in the US? And we were like, hadn't considered it. But upon me doing research for a couple of years, that's how we wound up here in Panama. But I want to first give my husband a shout out because this was all about me. This was about my mental health. This was about me getting what I needed. And he was fully supportive. He was fully on board. But if I have to be honest, we never considered him in that and how it was going to impact him relocating to another place. Although he was supportive, he was on board. It wasn't until we got here that we started to notice that he was feeling lost. That although, we're best friends and we're here for each other, there were some things that were missing for him. So, Glenn, if I can actually ask you a few questions today. When we first moved to Panama, what was your biggest fear about leaving our support system behind?
You know, we were talking off mic a little bit, babe, and first of all, appreciated it because I think that my story can resonate with both men and women, whoever is the spouse that may not be feeling it, if you will, in terms of moving abroad. Um, I really, to be honest, I didn't think about it until a few months in. I was so excited. Anybody that knows me, I love new things. I love things that are, glitter and toys and excitement and all the things. And we had already, been here on vacation and we'd spent 10 days in the country. Country was beautiful. And wasn't until we got on the plane on our way back that you were like, no, I think that's the place. I got so caught up and swept up in the the move itself, because we actually turned that around in 5 months. And so we visited, and then by the time we moved back, it was literally 5 months later. So all of the getting ready, packing up, giving our stuff away, breaking the news to the family, all the things, it sort of clouded my mind. And it wasn't until, I want to say, probably a good 30 to 60 days in, I started feeling it. And so when you asked the question, what was my biggest fear, I had not considered that leaving my support system would make me feel lost. And I went through a significant, and I don't think I gave it a lot of credit, to be honest. I don't think I gave it a lot of weight, or the weight that it probably should have deserved, because again, I was trying to be here for you. But if I had to be really honest looking back, I was depressed. I was depressed for a minute because I felt lost. I didn't have, and this is going to sound weird. I'm a whole grown man. Today I'm 59 years old. But I felt like I had no friends. I had no support system. And because of my temperament, I need people like people need air. I'm a people person at my core, and I don't do well. I was a kid in school that got the notes that said, Glenn plays too nice with others. Most people get you don't play well with others. Mine was the exact opposite. So, Cherie, I think my biggest fear set in a few months later, that I just literally lost my entire support system and I have to reinvent one.
So, as you were discovering that, coming to that conclusion, there were a couple things that were happening, kind of looming. So, we're best friends. We get along. We laugh together. We cry together. We really are best friends. We are very different, though. I am very good with being by myself. Even in the States, I have a handful of good friends. Don't have to talk to you every day, may not talk to you every month. But when we get together, we get together. We have a good time. And so I've always been I used to say I'm a loner. I'm not so much a loner, I'm an introvert. I'm very introspective, and I enjoy my own company. And so I was fine. But as you were discovering that, this was starting to weigh on you, you weren't feeling settled. How would you say that your new emotional state impacted us in those beginning months?
Oh, it was bad. I was grumpy. I was short. I was real moody, probably is a good way to put it. Didn't know why. And part of it was because at the time I was struggling with a little bit of a tendonitis in my right foot that was just getting aggravated because of if you ever walked around in Panama, you know that there's no sidewalk that's equal with the other one. And so, navigating on foot, that was just aggravating the tendonitis. So there was some physical pain, but I'll be honest, babe, I was really short. I was not happy, I think. And then just being here with you, I was seeing that you were leaning into your place of peace, but and again, I didn't know it. I didn't know what was really going on, but I just was, and so I was grumpy all the time. I just, I seemed to be. I mean, you tell me, because you was like, you kept saying like I was a bear or something.
You were a bear to deal with. He needed a Snickers bar probably 2 or 3 times a week. It was time for a Snickers bar because he was acting out of character. But I knew that something was going on. I knew there wasn't anything that I did. I knew that he was working through something. He just didn't have words for it at that time. But once you kind of got to the place, you was like, I think this is what's going on. Or do you remember what was that specific moment when you realized that this isolation, the weight of the isolation was kind of creating some changes in your behavior, changes in how you felt? Was there a particular moment?
Yeah, I think that right around the time you broke your ankle, I think that was about the time. It was about 3 months after we got here. Many of you guys, if you followed our videos, you know that Cherie fractured her ankle, and it was a high sprain on the other one. Walking, tripped and fell, and it was a whole thing. But it was during the time where now, instead of just sitting around, I had to now care for you, and it made me feel even more upset. And to be honest with you, not that you had done anything wrong, but this isolation just kept drilling down, and I felt like the walls at that point was closing in. And I think the only thing that was sort of my saving grace in a lot of ways was that you got your surgery done in the States. And because of that, we had to get on another page. I had a business conference that I was hosting in Atlanta at the same time you were having surgery in Virginia. And I was back in my element, if you will. And so to be honest, I didn't feel it right away. And it wasn't until we would return that then it began to settle in again. And that's when I knew something is going on. And I think it was the hunger for my circle. And y'all have to understand that I've been this way since I was 3 years old. I was the kid that would walk into a pediatrician with my mother and strike up conversations with grown men and have the whole place falling out laughing. And they would look at my mother like, what world does he come from? Holding court in a barber shop at 7. You know what I mean? Like, I was always that guy, and obviously class clown in school. I just needed people, and when you're in a place where you don't speak the language, or the people that you run into aren't your people, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. You try to force the issue sometimes, and you try to make them your people, and then you begin to realize, wait a minute, no, I have just not found my tribe yet, but I need to do some work. Why are you laughing?
All right, so Glenn is the one you hear people say he's never met a person that's not his friend. That is Glenn. So although you were going through this, you were feeling, feeling lost, feeling disconnected, feeling like you had lost your community. There were some seeds you had started planting even when we first got here, just because of who you are. So like I said, Glenn never walks in a room and doesn't make a friend. And so when we came here initially for our very first tour, first visit, that's when we met Mike Kelly. I had connected with him online prior to that, but we built a really good rapport with him then. So when we did move back that June, we had him that you could call, because even when I fell and fractured my ankle, you were able to call him. He was able to provide us some assistance with that, and that was the beginning of really you starting to build a relationship with him. Also, we had met our driver Omar, who we had Ubered with, and you struck up a conversation with him, and we started utilizing his services, and you were building a relationship with him. You didn't have any solid relationships with anybody at that time, but you were building the foundation for that. So what would you say was the turning point when you would say you really realized I need to intentionally build a community?
Just if I go back to Mike Kelly, because of Mike, I just kept meeting more and more people, and Mike and I spent a lot of time together. We spent time with him and his wife, and you and I, and one of the things that I got to realize was how well connected he was. Now, he had been here 12 years. He speaks the language fluently. He's married to a Panamanian wife, so it was understandable that he would have a network. But it was through building a relationship with him that I realized, wait a minute, I need to be super intentional. And so I remember meeting Pablo out at Mike's ranch one time. Pablo is my guy. He specializes in shipping people's household goods to foreign countries like Panama and Spain and Mexico and some others. Costa Rica is where he's from. He also works there as well. So, but each person led me to the next person. And what I did was and you have to understand, guys, I'm a community builder. But it didn't dawn on me that that was what was I was going through at one time. It was gradual. So then I realized that as I started connecting with the people who I gravitated towards in terms of value, like interests, those kinds of things, it became evident, no, I'm building my tribe here, and this is what I needed. And I started feeling that kind of a joy, like I want to go outside and play with my friends.
Right. So we started attending several other communities. They would have meetups. We would attend those, and we would meet a few people here and there that we'd connect with. But at one point in time, we were like, okay, we're meeting people, but we're not really getting to spend time with them. Let's start doing a game night. It was a few couples that we had met that we were like, hey, we'd like to get to know these couples a little better. They seem like we have, that we got something in common, and let's start doing that. And so we started hosting a game night. So we did that for, I think, 3 or 4 months. It was once a month. And we got to know these couples, got to develop some relationships with the couples from that. But even in that, we realized there was still something lacking, in a sense. They were fun to hang out with. They were good people, but there was something that was lacking. And this goes back to our foundation.
Yeah, you got to know that, and I would encourage you that, when God constructs you the way he does, I don't believe it's because he plans on moving you off of that, but so far. At our core, we were people who cared about people. At our core, we cared about the gospel. And the power of Christ and how He's transformed our lives and all of the different things. Not that we are perfect, but we couldn't be where we are without our relationship personally with Him. And we didn't have a place where we could go and worship. So we would find ourselves worshiping online. And, through the pandemic, everybody was doing that. And you quickly realize, wait a minute, I don't necessarily have to go to the building in order to connect to God. But what I didn't realize was being separated from God's people was causing me to feel separated from Him. And that's when the light bulb started coming on. You need to create a community based upon your spiritual values, because at your core, that's who you are. When it all boils down, when all the smoke settles, you are a man after God's own heart. And it doesn't mean that you're perfect. It doesn't mean that you don't have issues. It does, but what it does mean is that that's your baseline. And if you don't have friends that can connect with you at that baseline, then you don't have a place that you can quote call home. And I needed that place. And so I think that that kind of led us to think through accepting what God had been saying years prior to that. So that's what kind of led to us accepting that maybe we should launch Breakfast in the Word, and that we all need some help foundation.
So, on a personal note, I can say that us being a part of strong communities has significantly impacted our marriage. Prior to coming here and even being here now, it has helped to strengthen and solidify our marriage and improve our happiness being here abroad. As much as I'm not, quote unquote, a people person, I, and that's a misnomer, I'm not an extrovert. I love people. I care about people, and I like it. It brings me joy when I know that people are looking for me. And what I mean by that is that when you know that there are people that care about you, it gives you a sense of joy. It helps you to not feel alone. Although, like I said, I'm not the type of person, I don't have to talk to you every day. I don't have to see you every day. But knowing that there's someone there, knowing that I have someone that I can call, knowing that I'm there for other people, that if they need me, they can call me, that, that there's a support system, that I'm not here alone. We went through a season, unfortunately, during our marriage where we had relocated to Atlanta. And I did not feel like I had a true community there. I didn't feel like I had that. I left my core group of friends in Maryland when we moved to Atlanta. So I had been through that, and I had made a decision that, I didn't want to be in that place again. Now, like I said, when we first moved here, that wasn't my focus, because I was focusing on me getting my healing. But as Glenn was expressing that this was something that he needed, I started to realize, like, oh, I need a community too. And it's been such a blessing to be able to connect with the people that we have. We have a strong core group of friends here that are there for each other, that we can call, whenever anybody needs something, just to hang out, that we can spend time with, so we don't feel like we're alone here. Now, we don't do the game night anymore, but we get together quite often. It's not always everybody all together. Some will go out with one couple, may go out with another couple, but it has definitely added to the overall experience of living abroad. For one thing, and let me say this, we also have friends that are singles, so that all of our friends are not married, because there are a lot of singles that live here too. But just being able to pour into other people, and be there to support them, has truly been a blessing. For you, what would you say to a couple who's planning to move abroad about finding a support system early?
Ooh, I would say leverage technology. Like, if you know that you are even thinking about moving abroad, one of the things I would tell you to do is begin to think about the kind of things that interest you. When you go to sleep at night, you're thinking about this kind of stuff. When you wake up in the morning, you can't wait to go do these kinds of things. And I would strongly encourage you to reach out, and even if it's just a Facebook group of people who like to fish, whatever your interests are, I would say do your research and start networking online with people that do that in the area that you're going to. And what it'll do is, when you get to said space, whether that's, I don't care what country, even a state in the US, at least you'll begin to know, well, where they playing pool at, where they fishing at, where's the gyms. Like, it shook me that in Panama, y'all, and if anybody has found this place, put it in the comments and let me know. I love to swim. I was shocked and amazed that there was not the equivalent of a YMCA here in Panama. And let me tell you why, really, really quickly. Part of my regiment was I was swimming 2, 3 days a week at the Y. And if you understand anything about living in the north, obviously it gets cold. And the only way you're going to swim year round is a swim in covered area. Well, although it doesn't get cold in Panama, it does rain 9 months out of the season. It's rainy season. So there are times when it might be thunder and lightning. You ain't trying to swim in a pool. So where can you go to swim indoors that is not a school, or it's just literally laps and a pool like that? Maybe you can buy a membership. Doesn't exist, at least not in Panama City. And if it does, the few places that have found are in gyms that are not necessarily accessible, and then those pools are outdoors.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that tripped me all the way out. And if you're an avid swimmer, if you're an avid person that just loves that kind of thing, you're going to be sorely disappointed when you come here, because now you're built now. And in the defense of Panamanians, people have pools at their homes. People
Yeah.
have pools in the buildings that you live. We have a pool that I swim in all the time, but oftentimes they're not covered, and that's the point I was just trying to make. So yeah, I would say start online and work your way backwards.
So another question I always get posed is from singles, and they want to know, for singles living abroad, how can they stay connected and not feel isolated when they move abroad?
Get outside.
What do you mean by get outside?
Let me tell you something. And this is funny. The Bible says that in order to find a friend, you must first show yourself friendly. Here's the problem. Listen to me very carefully. Where singles are concerned, particularly my introverted people, you enjoy your time to the point and to the exclusion of attracting the people that you need to be with. Let me break that down for you. What you don't understand is the very component that you need requires something of you in order to attract that thing. And so if you were to find yourself getting outside, let me give you a quick example. This morning, I literally, at the time of us recording this, I literally went up to a local coffee shop in the area, and I watched a Sunday service online, and I was able to connect to a local church back in our bishop's church. And listen, but I'm also connecting with everybody in that cafe, families and people. People I know, people I've seen. I'm able to speak. When you decide to get outside, you get attractive. Now, the truth of the matter is that Panama City, if particularly, delivers a ton of places where you're going to find people, and then this is where your perspective has to be broadened a little bit, because they're not going to all be of your ethnic background, of course, because you're in a Latin American country. So it's a very diverse country. But if you want to be discovered, you got to be in a place where folks can see you. That's just my honest opinion.
And also, for my singles, there are a lot of communities, people that do meetups and things throughout the city. If you are a single and you live in Panama City, if you know of a meetup for singles, post it in the chat. Put it in the chat if there is such a community that already exists. And if there isn't, I want to challenge you. If you're single and you're here in Panama, or you're single and you're living abroad somewhere and there isn't a community, start it. Put a call out, see who shows up, because you're not going to meet people, like Glenn said, if you stay inside and you're waiting for people to come to you. They're not going to come to your house knocking on your door. So you have to get out. And so if you
Talk
are the
about, I
type of,
heard you was single. I just thought I'd knock on
you
you.
would think that was cringe. I think, is cringe still a word? I don't know. Creepy. So consider starting the community, and you can start it online. It doesn't have to be, just start something where you can connect with other singles in your area to start developing relationships. And you can always start a WhatsApp group. You can start a Facebook group. It's easy to do it, so it's not so much of a heavy lift for you, but you get to connect with other people. Now, also, on the same caveat, to my married couples who move abroad and you stay in the house 24/7, 7 days a week. Now, I know many of us moved here because you taking a respite. You getting out the rat race. You want to take a break. And I understand that, but you still need to build some sort of a community, because somebody needs to be looking for you. And what I mean by that is that unfortunately, people will move here. You may have health issues or something. It could be a health emergency. If nobody knows you're here, if nobody is calling to check on you, that could turn out fatal. And unfortunately, we know of a situation. A gentleman was here. No one was looking for him on that day. And was sick and he actually passed away in his home. And
By
they didn't
himself.
find by himself, and they didn't discover him till hours later because no one was looking for him. So connect with somebody, at least one other couple, want somebody that knows your situation, that's going to check on you so that you don't. And doesn't have to do with, we think about that in the States when somebody is old and invalid, somebody needs to go check up. No, we're in a foreign country.
Right.
Anything, you could drink the water and have a bad reaction that day. I don't know, eat something and something happens, something abnormal could happen. You could trip and fall. Let me tell you this, these floors in these units, these are marble floors. You slip and fall and hit your head, you're not getting right up.
Unforgiving.
So if nobody's looking for you, you're going to be laying there for a minute. So connect with somebody, let somebody know what's going on with you. Get out the house, connect, try to build relationships with at least a couple people that you stay in touch with so that they know that you're okay.
Before you go to the next thing, babe, I just want to encourage people. I have some folks that it's just a picture, screensaver on my device here. I have some people on my screensaver on my device there. And when I look into these pictures, these are people that we have developed very close relationships with. People that, in one case, live on the western side of the country. We live in Panama City. They live out closer to in the Chiriquí region, closer to David and all of those things. We have one couple that loves their solace, and they are inside a lot. But because what Cherie is saying, they're always on our radar.
Right.
And so we have them in a group chat where, hey, how you been? Da da da. Is everything good? If we're doing something, we're inviting them. They don't have to come. We're not offended, but we want to let them know that we're looking. I think about another couple who left and went back to the States for several months to spend some time with the grandbabies, and we were able to help them navigate, where they're going to live. They were moving when they got back, and we were able to help them talk through what that could look like. And now they're back, and they're living in a brand new place, but we know where they are, and they know where we are, and we often get up. This ain't about, Cherie, letting people quote in your business. I need y'all to shed some levels of thinking that I believe come from a fixed mindset and also the mindset of the hamster wheel. One of the things that Cherie and I had to work really hard on, and it took a minute, it took us doing some work, is shedding the mindset of you are your own entity, and quite frankly, you got this. In the States where we're from, we were reared to fend for ourselves, and we take great pride in knowing I don't need nobody. I'm good. There's a level of pride that we have on accomplishing things on our own. If you grew up like I did in a single parent home, there was a lot of things that just wasn't given to you, and so if you didn't learn how to do it and do it well, you didn't survive. So I need you to understand, when you come to a place like this, your mindset has to shift if you're going to have a really good high quality of life. And I got to be honest with you, sitting here on my birthday, I can't tell you the last birthday I've had that I felt this loved. And when I say love, you have to understand my love language is physical touch. I'd much rather you show up and hang out with me than to give me something. I'd rather get your presence than your presence. Well, I can promise you, people are consistently reaching out. We have the kind of community. And I just want to encourage you, y'all. It makes all the difference. And I think that it's caused us to really, really fall in love with this place on a whole nother level.
Right. And so, on a serious note, another reason why it's important for you to develop a community when you're abroad is for safety reasons. I talked, about the gentleman, somebody being looking for you, but we don't want no 60-minute episodes on nobody. We don't want nobody going missing. But if nobody knows where you are, if nobody is in contact with you in country on a regular basis, and this goes to, like Glenn saying, acting like you got business, you don't want to tell nobody. I don't want nobody to know I'm leaving. I'm gonna be gone for a week. Somebody need to know you going into the interior for a week, because if you don't come back, somebody needs to be able to notify your family. If you get sick while you're out, somebody needs to be able to, you need to have a number, somebody you can call that speaks English, unless you are fluent in Spanish, that you can have them call your family for you. So there's like, I have a template for an emergency contact form that you can use, that I'll attach the link to the description that you can download. It's a way for you to have basically a point of contact here who's not your spouse, it's somebody outside. You can determine if you want to get them access to your unit, or you let your builder know in case of emergency, they let that person in if they're coming to check on you. But you need to put some steps in place for protection. So that you're secure, so that your family in the States has somebody to contact if they can't get in touch with you. Because it could not be something bad. You may just be home with the flu and you're not answering the phone, but your kids in the States are trying to reach you. Rather than them panicking, there's somebody they can call that's here, and they can say, oh yeah, I talked to her last night, she's okay, I'm actually going by there in a couple of hours to go take her something, to relieve that anxiety for your family, and vice versa. So there are some safety reasons why it's important to have community, as well as the emotional well-being, your emotional well-being and social stimulation, that make it important to have some sort of community. So before we get off, I want to ask you, Glenn, do you have 3 quick tips to building community abroad, and what would they be?
Rapid fire. Three quick tips. Go back to what I said earlier. Show yourself friendly by showing up. Right. Get outside. Doing the things that you love. This isn't about you necessarily engaging people. This is about showing up so that if someone wants to engage you, you're in a public space. Honor what it is that you value. It's really easy to come to a place that looks like paradise on the outside. I always tell people Panama is not perfect, but it's perfect for us. It's easy to get distracted. And so you can get caught up doing, quote, all the things that dishonor who you are at your core. I would say absolutely do that. And then the last thing is be consistent and be consistently intentional is my word is what I'd like to say. So in other words, every Wednesday, Cherie and I get out of the house because that's the day that our housekeeper comes and she cleans. Well, she's amazing. We call it Nina Day, and you don't want to be in the room with her because I promise you, she flips the house upside down. It's like a spring cleaning every week. Well, on those days, consistently, we get outside and we do things that we either have to do because we're running errands, or we do things that are unique and different. We may go to a day spa somewhere. We may travel out to the interior. We may do so, or we may sit in a coffee shop that we really love, and we see people on a regular basis. But it's every single week, and so I need y'all to do something consistently intentional. I think that would be my three. I don't ask me to repeat that.
No, that's good. And so, if you guys are in Panama or interested in coming in Panama, we'd like to invite you to join some of our communities. We have the Breakfast in the Word community, which is our online Bible study. We meet every Saturday morning. There'll be a link in the description. You have to pre-register to be a part of that community. When you join that community, you'll get access to the Zoom room where we do the Bible study on Saturday mornings. You also will get access to our WhatsApp chat for that community, where you can do prayer requests, and just stay in touch with people in that community. If you have prayer requests, if you just want to share, things that are going on with you, that's a great place. And it'll also keep you updated on things that we're doing with the We All Need Some Help Foundation, as far as any service projects and things that we're going to be having coming up if you'd like to serve here in the U.S., here in Panama, as well as in the U.S., because this is a global community. We have a core team in the northeastern region, the Philly, DMV, New York region. And so they'll be doing some projects in that area as well. And secondly, I'd also encourage you to sign up for our Taste and See Panama WhatsApp community. That's a group for people that are expats that are living here, people that are interested in coming here. And that's where you can post and ask questions about anything about Panama. If you have questions, you're thinking about staying in a certain place, you want to know about that neighborhood, you can post those questions in there and get feedback from other people that live here, or that have visited the area, to help you to connect with other people. Also, that's a great place to learn about what other type of communities there are here. Like I mentioned earlier, I know that there is a coloring community here in Panama City. There's also a walk community that I know about, but there are a number of communities here in the area that, depending on what your values, depending on what you're looking for, if it's something spiritual, like I said, I encourage you to join the Breakfast in the Word community. But if you're looking for something else, I'm sure there's a community here that can meet your needs.
Yeah, we definitely don't want you to forget about First Saturdays. And so once a month, every first Saturday of every single month.
The first Saturday of the month,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the
Not
first,
not the
not
first.
the first,
The
first
first
Saturday
Saturday
of
of
every
every
month.
single month. So this,
Right, that's our
um,
monthly
it
meetup.
is, and we do that 10:30 to 12 noon at Mika's Cafe in San Francisco. That's Panama, not California. And so, yeah, we would love to have you. It's turning into Cherie, and what's blessing me is the fact that First Saturdays is turning into the meetup where people are rearranging their trips to Panama based on coming on a first Saturday, not only to meet us, and that's part of it, but it's also so that they can meet other expats in real time because it's a place where expats are going to gravitate towards, travelers, people who are on a scouting mission to find out more. I was just amazed. A brother stopped by who saw our videos, and he was like, I'm in the right place because I got questions. And I said, well, you got a room full of people who get, and I'm pointing out couples, well, where you want to live? And, oh, they live over there. Or, and you get a chance to go and sit down, and the people are so warm. So that's first Saturdays, every first Saturday of every month at Mika's Cafe.
And disclaimer, dates and location are subject to change. So always check our website or check back here on YouTube and see if we've pinned a new video with any changes. But for the foreseeable future, we don't see it changing. But we just want to let you guys know that it is subject to change. And so you want to check our website for any changes, and that information will be in the description before you book your flight. Just make sure it hasn't changed. The time hasn't changed. And once again, that's every first Saturday from 10:30 a.m. to 12 noon at Mika's Cafe, and that is our first Saturday Gospel Brunch that we host every month as a fellowship for people coming here to Panama, people who are here in Panama in our community, people that are just interested in coming to meet the community, to come and meet us. That is your opportunity where you can come and say hi, give us a hug,
Yep.
and we look
We
forward
would
to
love
seeing
to
you.
meet you.
That's it.
Listen, guys, it's my birthday, and I got to get out of here so I can go. My turn up is turning down these days.
Yeah.
Like if I can get some rest, I'm doing good. Swimming, rest, playing some golf, I'm in there like swimwear. Y'all listen, at the end of the day, here's what I know to be true. You cannot get to any place of significance by yourself. And the reason is because we all need
some
some
help.
help. Help me.
Help me.
You understand?
Help me. Help
Listen,
me.
help me help you. Listen. Y'all be good, and we'll see you on the next episode of Behind Closed Doors with the Brooks
Brooks sisters.
Sisters.